So, okay, so until 2016, I was just a normal teenager, nothing spectacular like you all. I went to a school in Kyiv. I was just chilling most of the time. But at the same time, I participated in some student Olympiads, not really, nothing impressive, but did some extracurriculars. I went to theater studio, did some dance, and also worked for an NGO. And at the time, I never actually thought of studying anywhere besides Ukraine because I didn't know how. I didn't know it was necessary for me. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see the group chat at the same time so I can know that you can hear me, but I don't know how to open it. Where's the? Sorry. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna just hope that you can hear me. So I never actually thought of studying abroad, and at the time I was sure that I'm gonna study at Kyiv Mohila Academy. That was my dream, political science. I didn't know why exactly I wanted to go there, but it was hard to determine something at 16, so I just imagined I was certain. But then there was a funny story that happened, more like in a personal realm, but I'm just gonna share it with you. So a person that I really liked got into a program to study abroad, not UGS, nothing related to the US. And they were going to leave Ukraine. So I thought, I should apply abroad as well. And I started looking through different pages on Vkontakte at the time, looking for different opportunities to study abroad, and obviously for free because my family wasn't able to afford that. At some point, I found an announcement from Ukraine Global Scholars, and that was only the second year we were operating. So I decided to apply, and that was my story. If you don't know about this organization, there is a link on this application, and you can just, search Ukraine Global Scholars in Google. So anyway, I'm just gonna share a few words with those of you who don't know. It's a nonprofit that's been registered in the US because a lot of our mentors are based in the US. They're still continuing their education or simply working a few years after graduation, but we are operating in Ukraine. So every year we select a cohort of 20, last year was 50 young students, high school students, and we help them apply to US colleges and boarding schools. The goal of the entire program is that no one actually stays in the US, but they rather come back to Ukraine and help Ukraine develop in different realms of their choice. We have people who are interested in IT, we have people who are interested in environmental science, political science, physics, all over the place. And so the idea is that we diversify and strengthen different disciplines and fields in Ukraine. So all of us, because right now I'm a volunteer mentor for this program, all of us volunteer except for one person who works full-time. And that's pretty impressive because we do a lot of work and that's for free, simply because it's inspiring and pretty patriotic. So that's something, my way of giving back to Ukraine for now. So what does UGS do and what it did for me? While I was applying to UGS, as you may know, there are 3 stages. I didn't actually realize what was going to happen. My parents were afraid it was going to be some kind of closed sect, or we would have to pay something, or whatever, they're going to fool me in some way. And I didn't actually know how it's possible to study in top institutions like Harvard, whatever, Yale, Stanford, what else, for free. So I just simply went through those stages, and when I went to summer camp, which is a summer boost camp by UGS in August, I didn't know much. I didn't know what I have to do for this application process, and that's okay if you don't know. But it means that you will have to gain this information really quickly if you want to apply, because there is a lot of stuff to remember. So at first, UGS helped lied in the fact that they paid for our TOEFL and SAT tutors. That was online tutoring, and we all studied together. through online conferences and homework assignments. Then they organized a camp, which is a very intense 10-day program approximately, where we learn what the application process looks like to boarding schools and to colleges. We learn to write essays, who to request for recommendations, all the materials we need. And also, the most important part of UGS is the mentorship that we give. And I received, my mentor was Michel Amish. I was pretty lucky because he was the founder of the program, which doesn't mean that he's better, but I don't know, maybe he had a lot of experience. And this person talked to me every week, texted with me every day, looked through my essays, helped me with my mental health because application process can be pretty stressful, and told me what my advantages as an applicant are, what I should try to sell to schools to get in. So that's the most key part of this UGS relationship, is that you get this person who really cares about you and knows pretty much everything about you, academically, as well as about your family situation, where you come from, and they can really tell you, based on their personal experience, what is this one thing or several things that will make the school or college want to accept you. So even if you don't want to apply to UGS, or didn't get in, it's important to look for a person of that kind, and it's easy to find them among just people on Facebook that who go to a university in the US or school in the US. You can just write them some questions, maybe they'll help you, or find a person at a conference. Peace Corps volunteers may be a great resource as well. So this is just the first advice that I give you, is really great to find a real person who would answer your question. So if you need some help, we are usually pretty open to outside questions in our Telegram Q&A channel from Ukraine Global Scholars, so just report that. So after applying with UGS help, which was in fact from June to March, so it's like process for me was actually not the longest, but still it lasted from June 2016 to March 2017, because March is the month when boarding schools, most of them, send their results, admission results. Some people actually, it takes them 2 years. People in American high schools, American citizens, usually spend their entire high school, so 4 years, preparing for college application process, because you need to build your resume and gather activities, maintain good grades. So it's a long and complicated process, but it's still possible to do it as I did in several months. So in March 2017, I learned that I'm accepted as a junior, which means like 11th grade, тобто передостанній клас. So they have freshman, sophomore, junior, senior in their high school. I learned that I was accepted to Lawrenceville School, which is a boarding school in New Jersey. Boarding school simply means that there are students who live there, live on campus, in dorms, and this makes your experience really similar to what college students experience. We also had some day students from the area, but most of us lived on campus, which created this very cozy, but at the same time isolated community. And so I spent 2 years in New Jersey, suburban New Jersey. And on the slide, you can see a few pictures of what I did there. This is me. I don't know if you can see it, but on the left, it's me during convocation, which is like the opening ceremony of the year, was another UGS finalist. On the far right, it's me participating in a campaign to help raise funds for childhood cancer research. So you just shave your head and fundraise for that. And then I donated all the money that I gathered to this organization. And then on top, the picture was my friends that we gave to yearbook. And yearbook is also this American term. It's basically выпускный альбом, but they make it about the entire school, not about just your class, because the concept of class doesn't exist in the US as such. It's just grade as parallel. And on the very bottom, it's me participating in the theater show. So the point of this slide is that there is a whole lot to do in those boarding schools. And again, this is not a college. This is just regular high school education. But the reason you need it is because it's very strong academic background and college counseling support, and also time to just learn English. And it's very useful to apply it there before going to college straight from Ukraine. So there are a whole lot to do there. Sports, which I didn't really do because I'm not a very athletic person, but they have a lot of those. I played volleyball, there's hockey, you know, water polo. You have theater, you have music, you have all kinds of publications on campus. They're student-led, and constant, you know, charity work, some community service, just hanging out with friends, and also a lot of schoolwork, which makes it pretty stressful. And yeah, you just learn to manage your life at the place like this. So after this, which basically started only this September, so a few months ago, I finally, at the age of 20, started my first year at college. Yay, which was pretty late because my friends from Ukraine are already graduating this year. But you know, you have to pay something for, you know, gaining education maybe at a higher quality place. So Columbia University in City of New York, I'm just at first year, so I still have 3.5 years ahead of me. But I feel like I've already adapted pretty much to what's going on. Sometimes it's even more stressful than boarding school because I have to search for jobs because, you know, it's 20 years, you know, time to like get money, internships. It's a huge school, so there's a lot of competition for different leadership positions, for internship positions, but also community is much more interesting thanks to the fact there are more people. And I was lucky to find my friends during the new student orientation, which is like right when you arrive on campus. So you have a few pictures of our campus, which is in New York, again, Upper Manhattan. This is not a thing for all colleges. I guess most of them are actually located in more rural or suburban areas or in smaller towns. So it's not a typical college experience, but the reason why I applied there was specifically because I was interested in living in New York after suburban New Jersey, you know, 2 years. So I craved for this more city vibes. And the middle picture is me flexing with the Columbia University placard in the subway station that's called Columbia University. And on the bottom, it's view from my window. I'm pretty lucky because I have downtown view. And then there are a few pictures from the activities that I do at Columbia, which is mostly related to sustainability and environmentalism, because that's what I'm interested in. And my prospective major is sustainable development, which is a very interdisciplinary major. It includes social sciences, natural sciences, and statistics, some calc-based, also innovation tech-based classes. So the range of courses that I can choose, even though we have core courses that everyone has to take, is very diverse. It's huge. Sometimes I'm lost, well, not sometimes, all the time, where I have to choose my courses for the next term. I'm confused because there's so much stuff to choose from, even though I'm first year, which I know is not a thing in most Ukrainian schools. You don't really have a choice of what you study, and that's, you know, one of the main advantages of US education. Okay, let me just open this. Okay, no questions for now, so let's just move on. So right now, for those of you who don't know, I'm just gonna talk about the timeline, or what does application process look like. And this is a slide in Ukrainian that's been taken from UGS presentation. So I'm just gonna talk in English, but you can look this one is pretty helpful anyway. And it's for UGS applicants, finalists. I mean, it's specifically, but it's useful for, it's applicable to anyone who is applying to US school. So as I said, this process may take up to a year or more. So it's good if you start in like 8th grade. If you are in 11th grade right now, it's fine. But the point is that the earlier you start, the better you are, the more prepared you are. Because one of the things that you have to do for most colleges is to take TOEFL, which is an English speaking and English proficiency, that's the word, English proficiency exam for those who are not English speakers. Some of you may have taken IELTS because that's what most countries in Europe use. So TOEFL is similar to IELTS. I heard that it's even easier. And the thing with TOEFL is that you need to study for the test itself because that's the structure that matters. You need to know how to answer problems, not just be able to speak English. And that actually makes it easier because you can study for it. You can know, what the speaking question 1 looks like, what the speaking question 2, and all the writing assignments look like. So TOEFL is the thing that if you don't know what to start from, you can start with TOEFL because you need to be done with it. And, it's never too early. Another thing that most US colleges and schools demand, which you can also do in Ukraine, is SAT exam. So SAT exam is harder in the sense that, it's right here, SAT and TOEFL. SAT is harder in the sense that everyone takes it. So American citizens who were born in the US and study in the US educational system and speak English at home also take it. And your results depend on what other people scored. So it's even harder for us as Ukrainians, to pass it than TOEFL. But it's also possible to prepare for it because it's a test and it's not going to ask you about anything in the world. Obviously, you need to know the structure, you need to know what kind of questions the SAT asks you, and gradually, as you solve more and more questions, you will kind of understand the logic behind it. The tests are a completely separate topic, and if someone is interested in taking them, you can ask me, you can ask in our group chat, that's Ukraine Global Scholars, for more information. And also, if you don't know, Khan Academy and some other online sources, YouTube especially, are a great way of studying for those. You don't even need to buy any textbooks, which can be pretty expensive. And so I'm gonna be, done with testing for now. What's gonna happen next? So UGS, the way we do it is we bring all our finalists together in August for 10 days and help them understand what the application process looks like. If you are not applying with UGS, you're gonna have to do it yourself. But gladly, college application process is such a huge thing in the US for many high school students, for most of them, that you will find a lot of information online. On YouTube, people have videos like, oh, how I got accepted to Stanford, or a lot of forums, online forums, and websites entirely dedicated to what you have to do to get into a college. So the things you need to understand is that most colleges use one platform that's called Common Application, common like, common, whatever, common room, Common Application platform. And there you can choose colleges you're interested in, but how you choose them is obviously you, again, need to do a Google search. Decide on your disciplines. That's what you need to do first. What your strong sides are. For example, are you interested in physics or chemistry more? Do you do dance or theater, sports? when you compile a strong profile of yourself, like 3 things that you have experience in, you have passion for, and you can sell yourself to colleges as, you know, as a physics person. You choose those 3 things, and then you can just look online for colleges that have great programs dedicated to chemistry, physics, math, humanities, whatever is your advantage is. After that, you can compile a list of colleges, which can be up to 20 schools, but it just means that you'll have to work more. Don't apply just to 5 schools that are like top tier, you know, okay, I'm gonna apply to Harvard and Stanford. That's not gonna work because the concept is that you want to get somewhere. So you need to have top schools, middle schools, they're like middle level schools that are likely to take you, and the schools that are very likely to take you, which are safety. They're called safety schools. And so your list needs to be balanced. You add them on Common App, and then you look through what each college wants from you. And in general, what they want is one big essay, which is common application statement, and that's your main story that you want to be remembered for in admissions office. Admissions office – це просто офіс, там, де люди, які будуть вирішувати, чи вони вас беруть чи ні, сидять і обговорюють профайли всіх. Together, they review applications, and the way this works is that at first they, you know, gather all the applications that they get, like thousands of them, from all the applicants, from the US, you know, Texas, whatever, Cambodia, Ukraine, all the continents. They sort them out into several categories, which can be different, which can differ from college to college. For example, they have international applicants, or they have like sports applicants. So it's different, but basically every application is reviewed by 2, usually admission officers, which are real people. So it can be subjective, but mostly they have great rubrics for that. And then in some colleges, every admissions officer chooses the application they consider strong, and at the end they argue or advocate for their favorite applicants. So it can be really chaotic, and at some point in very selective schools, you know, like MIT, Harvard, Ivy League schools like Columbia as well, it can be just a thing of luck. So if they have 2 similar applicants, they have both interest in physics, they're both international applicants, they may just, you know, not choose you and choose the other person because of some very tiny detail. So that's the reason why, again, you need to apply to, I would say, at least 13 schools. Again, 13 colleges. So I'm talking about colleges more because I feel like it's more interesting for you than boarding schools, because I don't know, I feel like most people in Ukraine realize they want to study abroad later, and you know, you don't apply to boarding schools anymore. But I can answer to your questions about boarding schools, so it's fine. Okay, so after you're done with this main story, personal statement, uncommon application, you also need to write some other essays. Usually, you know, well, actually there's no real number. Some colleges require none of those. Some colleges require, you know, 1 short essay, 2 like semi-short essays, 3 very short responses. So it differs from college to college, and again, what you can start doing as early as August, because that's when new application questions are posted on Common App. You can start reviewing what each college wants. Okay, I just heard something. I guess someone turned their microphone on. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so essays are not the only thing that you need to prepare, because you also need a resume, CV, you know, that is usually 1 page, and the format is pretty strict. So we need to make sure to include only the most important details, and there are rules how to write a good resume as well. So again, use online resources. They can be great. Look at what successful applicants did for their resumes. A lot of them post that online or on YouTube. Try to compile a good document. Even if you are not applying to US schools, resumes can be extremely useful. Like, not can, they are. If you apply to any of the internships, any jobs, you need them, and you need it to really pop up. The other thing that's also pretty obvious is recommendations. Usually you need 2 or more, and even 3 or more. So one of the main recommendations is your counselor, and it's not really a thing in Ukrainian high schools, but counselor is usually someone like zavuch, who are not a professor of any subject or of any particular course, but they know about you in general as a student, and they know what you're doing in school at large. So what organizations you're involved in, which is not a very developed concept in Ukraine, but you know, типу, скільки ти там в олімпіадах приймав участь, можливо, ти організував урок для молодших класів на День вчителя, що ще, не знаю, приготував там шкільну газету, all of things that are more common in Ukraine, in Ukrainian schools, that's what your counselor, zavuch, can write about. The other recommendations usually come from your English and math teacher or someone from humanities, which can be English, history, philosophy, and then more scientific math-based courses. Some colleges want more recommendations, like extracurricular recommendation, which can be your like football coach if you play football, or dance coach, or your visual arts professor that you do outside of school. Or if you are, for example, volunteering for a nonprofit, it can be the head of this nonprofit, someone that works for you, your boss, you know, anything that you do really actively outside of school. Okay, so as you can see here, the next part is financial forms. So financial forms is a key thing here because all of us struggle. Oh, you can't hear me at all? Well, can you hear me now? Стас, я не знаю, що трапилось. Взагалі мене має бути чути, в мене все увімкнено. Можливо, тобі просто потрібно перезавантажити сторінку. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Okay, thank you guys. So financial forms are a key thing here because we all, most of us from Ukraine, focus on question, how am I gonna afford this? How am I gonna pay for this whole shit? Which is pretty expensive. So the 1 year of education in my university amounts up to $80,000. And that's what you have to pay to the school itself to study there. But obviously you also spend money, you know, if you go out for dinner or buy clothes. So I don't know how much how much money they have. But a good thing is that most US colleges provide financial aid. What is financial aid? So colleges in the US and many boarding schools as well, especially the top richest ones, are like big corporations. So they have endowments, which is the entire, like, I don't know, millions of dollars that they have from donations from their alumni and from what students who can afford to go there pay. And some other sources, you know, they actually invest in business ventures to get money. So they have the whole endowment and they can give you money if they feel that as a student, you're going to make a valuable, precious contribution to their school. So the point of Your application is, if you're applying for financial aid, is also showing them how unique you are and what your advantages compared to other students are if you want to get this scholarship. But also there are some schools that are need-based. Oh, need-blind. Need-blind means that they're blind to your financial need, which means that while considering all the applications, they don't even look, don't even think about how much everyone can afford, and they just select everyone they like, and at the end, they look at what you can pay, and they guarantee that they're gonna give you 100% demonstrated need, and you'll be able to come. But those schools, there are a few of them. I know that MIT is one of them, probably Harvard, Cornell, I think, is as well, but I'm not sure. Columbia is not, for example. It's need aware, so it knows about your need, but it doesn't mean that if they see, oh, it's another poor person from Ukraine, like goodbye. That's not gonna happen, but it means that you need to be even better than the people who can pay because you are asking them for money, not just to accept you. Yeah, so on your side, what you need to give them, besides your amazing application, is also financial documents. And it sounds like an easy thing to do, but actually that's what our UGS applicants are really confused with every year, because there are a lot of websites that are, a lot of forms that are concerned only with your financial status, and you need to fill that out. Gladly, usually deadlines for financial forms are later than the application deadlines, which, if you don't know, usually start January 1st for regular decision up to February. And usually financial forms are like 2 weeks after the deadline. Yeah, what you need to prepare is форми з податкової, скільки твої батьки заробляють. Я буду говорити українською, тому що про це все-таки українською якось легше говорити. Яка зарплата в твоїх батьків, якщо в тебе там немає батьків, в твоїх legal guardians, скільки в тебе членів сім'ї, хто живе на ці гроші. You will need to calculate approximately how much you spend on clothes, how much you spend on medicine. It can get really ridiculous at some point, and you need to allocate like at least a day, entire day, to fill out those forms. But one thing you want to show them is, I don't have money. So you need to make sure that your parents' salary shows that. You need to make sure that like your expenses after you spend all the money that your family receives are like equal, that you have no savings. And if your savings is like $1,000 per year, it means that obviously you can't pay because the education is $17,000. So in most schools, you are eligible for some amount of aid if your family's income is less than $70,000 per year. To be eligible for full aid, well, most people in Ukraine are. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay, tell us about the assistantship. So I guess it means what the financial aid covers. Again, it differs from college to college, but in my case and what most of poor Ukrainian people are expecting is full tuition, which means that this is what you pay for like professors' salaries just to attend the courses, participate in classes. They pay for your tuition, they pay for your food usually. I have a card that gives me 19 meals per week, and I go to dining halls, so I don't spend a lot of money for food. Theoretically, I can spend $0 on food because I'm given 19 meals, which is more than enough. And colleges usually pay for your food because they understand it's a key thing. Then they can pay for your health insurance, but sometimes you have to pay for it yourself. It's usually not greater than $2,000 per year. They can pay for your textbooks. They can even give you money for transportation. And what else did I say? There is always some fee for sports. So to participate in clubs, sports, art stuff, there is a separate fee that they also cover for you, and that's what financial aid can cover. Okay. So that's financial aid, but some people from UGS didn't get the full one, and it means that they have to pay up to, $5,000 per year, which some families in Ukraine can do. For others, it's a struggle. You can, if you receive financial aid that's not going to make you able to go to this school, you're like, this is too much for my family. You can write them emails and ask for more, or consider financial docs. Or what you can also do on colleges, not at boarding schools, is you can work on campus. And it's like a work study. So you work and you give a part of your entire, or a part or your entire income to pay for college. Okay, скільки ти платила за Львів? I didn't pay any. Oh, I paid $100 per year because that's what my mentor told me to write, not to be rude and say that, okay, my family can contribute $100, and that's what I paid for every year, which can be a lot for people, but it's like 3,000 гривень на рік, тобто це зовсім небагато. І в ССС, я думаю, я писала, що моя сім'я може заплатити за рік $100. So just to give you some insight, none of my parents work, none of my parents are employed. At that time, only my mom was employed, and she was, вона працювала в якійсь державній адміністрації, надання коротше, не буду давати деталі, але просто суть така, що в мене реального прибутку в сім'ї було мінімум, і вони це побачили в моїх фінансових документах. Але там не треба боятися, якщо у вас, я не знаю, яка там може бути зараз зарплата, мені навіть важко уявити ціни, але одним словом, якщо ви не їздите там відпочивати, не знаю, кожного місяця кудись, чи там кожні півроку, якщо у вас немає 5 будинків, там кількох квартир, особливо одна квартира, це означає, що ви are eligible to receive financial aid, because most people in Ukraine are, except for the wealthiest ones. Is it easy to get the assistantship? So most colleges, if they accept you, it means that they're going to give you financial aid, because if they see your financial docs and they can tell that you can pay $100, there is no point in them accepting you and not giving you financial aid. That's dumb. Like, вони розуміють, що ви не можете заплатити. So if they accept you, most likely they're going to give you money. Sometimes it happens that for some reason colleges accept you and then they say, oh yeah, but we're not going to give you financial aid. And then you have to be like, then I'm not going to be able to come. So usually they don't do this because it's really dumb. And again, if you are accepted, it means probably you're going to receive financial aid at the amount that you need. But they can reject you partially for the reason that they can't afford you as an applicant, or they found someone better who also needs financial aid and they prefer to take them. So it's really hard to say it, but you can see acceptance rates for each college, and in some colleges it's like 48%. It means that 48% of students who apply to them are accepted. And in schools like Ivy League schools, like Columbia, Harvard, Yale, whatever, Dartmouth, Stanford, it's less than 10%. And usually, 5% or something, 7%, which is a very small amount. But you can do it. Okay, about applications to universities. What exactly do you want to know? I don't know if I've answered every question, but I think I did. Another really important point is that if you don't know, usually you have to pay for your application to each college. You need to pay an application fee, which is usually smaller, less than $100, but it's for them to see that you're committed. And I don't think it's a lot of money for them, so they don't use it to fund anything, but it's more to show that you're committed and that you're ready to invest in your education. But a good point is that many colleges can give you application fee waiver, which is like from waive, тобто ніби відпустити цей application fee, цю оплату, if you write them a very kind email saying that, okay, this is the income of my family, it's like $0 per year, and, like, tell the truth, but I'm just exaggerating. I'm like, I don't know, my father doesn't work, I'm sick, like blah, blah, blah. Give the real reasons and really show them that you can't even afford that waiver, and some of them agree to pay it. Some colleges can pay your waiver, and that's where you either need to invest from your own money, from your savings, or again, programs like UGS or competitive college club, or what else I know. Not really anything, this too. They can pay for your application fees. And that can be a lot, because if you apply to 13 colleges and like 7 of them tell you to pay, it can be, I don't know, like $500. So that's a lot. Okay. Okay. When you get for free and for applications, another for $10, $40, you know. Oh my God. I kind of forgot about that, to be honest. But I think that, I'm not sure. Honestly, Dasha, I'm very sorry. I don't think I can answer this question, but I think that this is related to Common App. Common Application itself giving you a right to send for applications for free. For others, you need to pay. But I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I can answer that I can research and write an answer to you in person or Ukraine Gobbler's Telegram chat. But usually you would request waivers from colleges themselves, I think. So someone asked me about what the story about flip-flops in the title of my presentation. So that was about living in a dorm, no, гуртожиток. There are a lot of stuff going on in the dorm, like, you know, fungus, some other stuff, like really disgusting bathrooms, right? Sometimes. So that was just a joke about you need to have flip-flops if you live in a dorm. Obviously, they mostly look better than dorms in Ukrainian universities, but still, it's not like a hotel or anything. It's just something, I don't know. Libraries, oh, it's also бібліотеки, там ще написала бібліотеки, шльопанці. Libraries, the reason is that you spend a lot of time in libraries. At Columbia, I probably spend more time at a library than I spend sleeping, because you just have a lot of work. I have 5 courses, and last term I took the max amount of credits. Credits is like бали, які ти отримуєш за кожен курс. Це ніби вага курсу. І в мене вони там... Okay, wait, let me just... I'm going to send the link right now. Ось, вага кожного курсу, і внести, наприклад, максимально, може бути 6, може бути курс за 1. Це ніби скільки часу ти маєш на нього тратити, і так визначається вага курсу. So I took the max amount of credits, because obviously you have limits. They don't want students to, you know, die out of exhaustion. So last term I had a max amount of credits and 5 courses, while usually people take 4. So I had to study a lot. And we have a number of libraries on campus, as most colleges do, as most boarding schools usually have 1 library. But we have a lot of spaces to study, and you just come there, sit with your friends, drink coffee, write your essays, or not drink coffee. Okay, so we need to finish because it's already 48, and I'm sorry if I haven't covered something, but maybe it's time for a Q&A, so ask questions if you have something to ask. And I know that I haven't covered a lot, but again, you can use our group chat anytime. This is the link. Also, you can contact me in Telegram, which I think is pretty useful, or pretty convenient, I mean. This is my name in Telegram. And I also have Facebook that I like to use for professional reasons. You can text me here as well, but just make sure to add me to friends first. because then I sometimes miss messages if you just, send the text and I have to accept them. Okay, so maybe if no one is asking questions, I'm just gonna cover the reason why I'm studying in the US. Again, as I said, like 3 years ago, or not, no, 4 years ago, I was sure I was gonna study in Ukraine. And I would say that's a great path to take as well, because you are staying within a country, you're really in the middle of all the political, social events that are going on, and you understand the context better. Sometimes when I come to Ukraine, I really realize that I'm already becoming more and more distant, more time is spent in the US. And that's why I try to follow, a multitude of Ukrainian pages, news sources on Facebook, just to stay in touch, not with just, high level political stuff, but also with, what kind of nonprofits are opening right now, what kind of projects are people doing in environmentalism, in science, and, social sector, business sector. And this is because I don't want to lose this connection with Ukraine. This is really deep for me. And for now, I'm planning to come back 5 years after I graduate from college, because that's what UGS requires. You have up to 5 years after graduation from college to study abroad, stay in the US, work, and then you're expected to come to Ukraine. And also, just some personal stuff from me. I don't really feel necessary or in my place when I am in New York, anywhere in the US. It's cool. It's not like I don't have friends there. It's not like I feel, like an enemy or a stranger. I know a lot of things now, but I still feel much more comfortable in Ukraine, in Kyiv, в Львівській області, коли їду до своїх родичів. Там я люблю подорожувати по Україні. Wait, my Telegram is this, sorry. Someone just upped it. Yeah, that's how it can text me. But also, don't be afraid to use Facebook. Yeah, so for me, the reason why I'm receiving this US education is really to gain insights from the US and many other countries, because all of those schools are extremely international. My friends are from Morocco, Romania, Oman, Australia, Brazil. They're all over, and I'm not like making some exaggeration. My friends really come from those countries. We have like an international squad, and also have like an American friend group separately. But yeah, it's learning how people handle everyday situations, like how they stand in a line, which I think Ukrainians have a real problem with, just sitting in a line and waiting for something. And it's, a lot of cultural insights, a lot of insights into policies, what each country does for environmental protection, for example, or social protection, minimum wage, how they handle international policy, everything. And education at those top institutions in the US is really international, global minded. You can take an entire course dedicated to just international policy in like Middle East or Brazil or like one country. And I don't think that's available in Ukrainian institutions, especially that you need to choose your facultet for the whole 4 years, and then you take courses from it only. Obviously, there's informal education available in Ukraine, but I think that I can pursue many different disciplines at the same time more effectively in the US. And yeah, so I am really planning to return to Ukraine and either go into politics. I don't want to sound dumb, but I don't know how I'm going to do this, but it interests me as well. Or in the social business really attracts me. Anything. And that's why also I am not trying to live in some illusionary world. I come to for an internship every summer. It's already been 2 summers where I interned at Kyivstar, and this summer at Unicity, якщо хтось знає, в Києві, там в акселераторі стартапів Sector X, Unicity, коротше. And that's why I'm trying to understand how, how hard it's to get a business in Ukraine, considering all of those corruption and policies and blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to forget about all of this while I'm sitting in the US in some, distant reality. Yes, so I don't know what else I can tell you. We have 6 minutes. Maybe you have questions. Obviously, there is enormous material left to cover because that's a huge topic. But one thing that I can say for conclusion is that don't be afraid to use online sources. YouTube as well. Obviously, you need to fact check. Don't trust the first YouTube video you see about getting to Stanford. But there is how to take TOEFL, how to really finesse your TOEFL, what to do to study for SAT, what do people write about in their college essays, whom to ask for your recommendation. It's also online, and also there is a курс на Прометеусі від Ukraine Global Scholars, який є повністю безкоштовний, ми на нічого не розраховуємо від вас, ми просто хочемо поділитися досвідом. Курс просто присвячений тому, як вступити в коледжі в США, і ми там не дуже пропагандуємо свою програму, не тільки. Якщо хтось зараз може його скинути, якщо ви не знаєте. Так. Я тепер зрозуміла, що я взагалі нічого не сказала про те, як навчання в США, власне, виглядає, там такі маленькі моменти. Але, вибачте, просто реально за годину дуже складно все це встигнути. Зараз я шукаю цей курс і скину вам лінк. Багато хто нам казав, що люди, які цього року навіть вступали на UGS, вони казали нам, що вони дивились цей курс, або принаймні про нього чули. Так що, в принципі, він може вам допомогти також. Ось лінк. Там його зачитують люди з UGS, наші ментори, волонтери, засновники. Все безкоштовно, і, в принципі, це те, що я розказала, тільки набагато щедріша інформація, можна так сказати, набагато довший курс, там є домашнє завдання, здається. Ось. І це, перш за все, для того, хто вступає на бакалаврат, тому що магістратура, вона хоча б, цей курс також буде, звісно, цікавим, але суть вступу на магістратуру там проблематичніше, тому що немає фінансової допомоги, або її дуже-дуже мало порівняно з бакалавратом, і тому що американці самі найчастіше йдуть на магістратуру тільки тоді, коли вони вже кілька років навіть попрацювали, або отримали якусь стипендію, часто вони беруть в кредит, щоб оплатити це навчання, часто в них просто є батьки, які за це платять, тому з магістратурою дещо складніше. Ось. Такий курс. І єдине, що я можу сказати там про те, що залишилось про навчання в США, це набагато, мені здається, інтердисциплінарніше, ніж в українських навчальних закладах. У вас справді є міжнародна... Tell about credit the back... Oh, can you... Credit. What do you mean by this? Типу, як credit like loan? Як кредит там, щоб оплатити? Добре, я просто почекаю, поки Даша напише там другу частину питання, щоб я зрозуміла, про що вона. Просто ось, що у вас справді є міжнародна спільнота, не так гомогенно, як в Україні, що справді я ціную, тому що абсолютно різні перспективи на речі. Там в мене найкраща подруга, вона мусульманка з Марокко, якби це вже в нас різні настільки думки про якісь щоденні речі. Ага, take the loan. So, honestly, I've never looked into that because it can get really tricky because you know, it's a huge amount. You can get up to $80,000 per year, and then you have some interest, which is lower than just for taking a loan from a bank for something else. But students, it can take up to up to 50 years for you to pay this. I know a Peace Corps volunteer who was 60 and she had a party when she was 60 something to celebrate her the end of her paying her college loans. So I never really looked into that, but I think that if you search a college, like I hope that you can still see my screen. For example, Columbia University, let's do this. And you look into the website, and then there is usually something that's called like affording your education. And they have types of things that you can do to afford. Okay, blah, blah. Oh, for example, like on announcements right here, you can see that new loan service provider. So colleges sometimes or usually partner with organizations that provide loans. For example, this one is called University Accounting Service. And I'm not sure you can do it as a non-US citizen, but I know they have programs for internationals as well to take loans. But you just need to know that it can get dangerous and you become dependent on it. So it's tricky. Just in Google, just type in like loan, the name of your college, international, and you're gonna get something. So it's already 12, so theoretically I need to be finishing this. Again, I'm sorry for the presentation, which wasn't, the highest level possible, but what I'm giving instead is my links to social media, Facebook, Telegram. I'm not kidding, I answer to questions, most of them, and I'm honest when I can't answer your question. So feel free to text me. And yeah, and also one last advice is that when you apply to colleges, most admissions officers are gonna look through your social media or search you online to find out what you really are online and offline. So make sure your social media look professional. You don't have nudes of any kind unless it's like for social impact, or you don't have some racist messages over Facebook, which is another problem. But yeah. So I'm gonna wait maybe 1 more minute for questions if you have some last ones. And thank you for coming. Again, I'm sorry if it wasn't enough for you, but just text me, text the group chats that I send a link to, Q&A. And good luck with your application process. I guess most of you are applying this year, this fall, because the admissions process is already ending. So you have a lot of time to prepare. Thank you guys. Yeah. Thank you, of course. Дякую дуже всім. Я, мабуть, почекаю до 12:05. Можливо, в когось ще є питання. Дякую, Тарас, дякую, Валерій. Всім, хто написали перед цим, також дякую, що прийшли. Так. І подивіться курс від Прометеуса і від UGS, він справді дуже корисний. І там прям лінки на все, конкретніша інформація, ніж, можливо, те, що я сьогодні говорила. Так що... Окей, якщо є останні питання, я вже через хвилину піду. Звісно, дякую, Саша. І всі, хто зараз навчаються там в 8-11 класі, пам'ятайте, що у вас кілька місяців до 15 квітня, щоб подати заявку на UGS. цьогорічний. Так що, якщо вам потрібна підтримка, а вона справді дуже цінна, у вашому вступі в США, і у вас якісь, знаєте, ідеї любові до України є, то подавайте аплікашку. А ось і лінк на аплікашку. Добре, дякую всім. Я тоді піду вже. Знову ж таки, пишіть в Фейсбуці, в Телеграмі. Which part is the most important? Okay, I'm just going to answer this one. So, the most important, I think, is the most important are two parts. The one is more like list-based. Це твої досягнення, які ти описуєш в academic achievements past 3 years and extracurricular achievements past 3 years. Make sure to, you know, write about everything you think is valuable. So тобто, якщо ви думаєте, що там організація фотовиставки – це фігня, це неправильно. Організація будь-яких проєктів, там проєкт-менеджмент – це, можливо, досить нетипове для нас extracurricular achievement, але це також дуже круто. Виставляйте свої пріоритети, аналізуйте, згадуйте, що ви там робили останні 3 роки, і просто чітко напишіть, щоб ми розуміли, чим ви займаєтесь і на якому рівні, чого ви досягнули. І наступне, найважливіша частина, це, мабуть, long essay. Там є choose one of the following topics. Довге есе на 3000 знаків, тому що це має змогу подивитися на вас як на людину. Не намагайтеся писати есе, ніби це, знаєте, там клас англійської, в плані якісь там general phrases, all people think that nature is important and I agree with them, blah, blah. Це має бути ваша особиста історія, щось, що ви вважаєте якоюсь найціннішою, там, найціннішим фактором вашої ідентичності. Так, Валерій. Телеграм, Вайбер в мене, ну я не користуюсь ним, а ось Телеграм це в мене, це моя назва. Коротше, довге есе – це друга найважливіша частина, можливо, навіть найважливіша частина, тому що ми хочемо побачити вас як людину. Якщо ви мали там якийсь складний досвід в своєму дитинстві або зараз, там, мусили піти на роботу, не знаю, коли вам було 15, там, у вас є якесь захворювання, з яким ви там кожен день якимось чином боретеся або призвичаєтеся, адаптовуєтеся до життя з ним, допомагаєте іншим людям, там, розкажіть про якусь своє захоплення до історії. Щось таке на особистому рівні, особисті історії досить, або там ваша організація якоїсь події, чи таке, так. Ну, я так розумію, що так. Зараз теж я подивлюся. Стоп, я щось не можу цього знайти. Так. Grades past 3 years. Так, тобто ти за 10, 9, 8, і якщо в тебе є, можеш дати за перший семестр 11 класу. А яка остання дата реєстрації? Ну, я так розумію, що це йдеться про Ukraine Global Scholars Application. Це ось 15 квітня. Окей. Я тоді зараз вже піду, тому що вже 12:08. Бажаю вам класних лекцій сьогодні. Якщо ви залишаєтеся, проходьте курс, пишіть в соціальні мережі. Я відповім на всі питання. Дякую, що були зі мною.